Morning, everybody. Let me get this in the cradle, and we will get started. So, got two videos going to drop today. This one's going to be sort of like the prelude to the real video. So, hit like and subscribe. Help a brother out. So, I'm a big fan of Spydercos, even though lately I've been carrying more multi-tools and Swiss Army knives, Victorinox, stuff like that. But I still love, there are times when I like carrying a small little blade here. And one of the things I was thinking about when I was in Hawaii last week was, did I get salt water on the knife? I got to make sure I rinse it off real quick. And then I remembered Spyderco makes a salt series. So I decided, here's what I'm going to do. I'm sure the knife is fine. I mean, I've got a Dragonfly 2, just because I will probably carry this in conjunction with a Swiss Army knife or some kind of a multi-tool. But there might be times where I want a locked blade that's, a bit more piercy, bit more, I don't want to say weapon, but, a bit more than just a little slip joint or something like that. But how nice would it be to be able to have something that I don't have to worry about, supposedly, allegedly, and that's what we're going to put to the test, I don't have to worry about at all. That I can get salt water on this, I can get wood, mud, water, whatever. If I rinse it off today, if not, if I forget and leave it sitting there on the table and I get to it tomorrow, that I should not have to worry about rust and making sure it's oiled and wiping it down every time, if I get it wet, especially if it's salt water, which I have in the backyard. I have a saltwater pool. So I've got one of these salt knives, and they're claiming it is corrosion proof. That is nearly 100%. So it uses, I believe, they have some that are LC200N steel. This one is I thought it was H1. I guess it's H2. I don't know what the difference is. But they say that this is saltwater, pretty much impervious. So here's what I'm going to do. For the sake of following the science, I am going to take this knife and this one. They're both made in Japan. They're both Dragonfly 2s. This one is in VG10. This is in the new H2. The only real difference between them are the materials. So the hardware here, I think, is stainless, and then it's also coated, whereas this is all exposed. And even though it's stainless, I think you might get some rust if it's submerged in salt water for any length of time. Both made in Japan. This one has your traditional flat grind as opposed to a hollow grind. I'm not sure why they changed the grinds. I noticed that I've got a Delica, but when you look at the salt version of the Delica, the point is slightly different. It's a little more Warncliffey-ish. So I'm not sure why the Salt series takes a different approach to the grinds or even slightly to the blade shape. This one, the blade shape is almost identical. It really is just flat grind versus hollow. Don't know what the difference is. Maybe it has to do with keeping a thicker spine. Maybe the steel, while more impervious to corrosion. I don't know, maybe it's not as strong or as stiff as this, and so they want to keep a little more meat here to keep rigidity. I don't know, I'm guessing. Dimensions and everything else, the pocket clip is pretty much identical. It's just these materials, they say, aren't going to corrode. So here's what we're going to do. I'm not going to do it with my my Delica, which I still think is one of the best slim EDCs. This or a bug out. If you just want a single blade locking, single hand opening knife, you definitely got to consider a Delica or a bug out. I prefer this, the way this opens and feels. To me, it just feels a little more substantial than the bug out while being about the same size. But here's what we're going to do. I'm going to keep this video short so I can get on to the next one. We're going to do a saltwater immersion test. I'm going to do it for 30 days. I'm going to get a Tupperware tub of water, and I'm going to put a piece of like a coat hanger through this and make a hook, and so that these will be suspended at the same height next to each other, a couple inches apart, in really salty water. I'm going to make sure that it's at least as salty, if not saltier than seawater. So I'm going to heat up some water, going to dissolve a bunch of sea salt in it, and we're going to make it super salty. And we're going to submerge these two knives, just like this. the entire knife, so it's not going to just put the blades in there, because I want to see what happens with the hardware. And we're going to put that in salt water, and we're going to leave it sit there for a month. And then we're going to come back and look at how badly this one got ruined. So I'm going to sacrifice this knife for the sake of science. And I want to see if this thing actually lives up to its name. Because if that is the case, I don't know why you ever would buy the non-salt series, other than the color of the handle. I can see where people would say, oh, I'm not crazy about the yellow. Honestly, handling it, I don't hate it as much as I thought that I would. But you know what? If I ruin this, the blade and the hardware, I can take this off and I can put that plastic on this one and I can make it look like that. But then I've got a knife in my pocket, no matter what it is, what I'm doing, if I'm sweating on it, drop it in the pool, didn't catch it till the next day, whatever, shouldn't matter. If this can survive 30 days and submerged in heavy salt water and come out of it with the edge and everything unscathed, why would you carry anything other than a salt series? Even if you don't go near the ocean, just never having to worry about your knife rusting, not having to worry about maintenance and care. Just use it, wipe it down if you remember to. If not, it doesn't care. I think that's tremendous. These things are like 70 bucks. So if that works, I will probably go and get one in the Delica and stuff like that. I'm not sure if the Delica is yellow or if it's green, but because I've seen them both. But even if that's the case, I'll probably just swap the hardware. I'll put the yellow handles on the VG10 blades and take the nicer looking one, at least what I think are nicer looking, and put those on my salt series and then give these away or sell them or something like that. So that's what's coming. There's not much to review. It's a Dragonfly too. I've already got a video of that. The only difference here is the flat grind versus the hollow grind. Wicked sharp, like all Spydercos are. And we're going to do a salt test. So stay tuned. Obviously, it's going to take a month, right? But I'm going to go and probably start that test tomorrow. And then what I might do is every day take a picture. So I'll have to do it in glass or something that makes that you can see through, so you can see the rust forming on this one, and hopefully not forming on that one. So anyway, want to do a quick one. Wanted to keep it under 10 minutes. We've hit that target. It's a Spyderco. It's a good knife. It's a Dragonfly too. This was really less about the knife itself as far as the specs and all that. It's really more about the upcoming. We're going to put it to the test, man. We're going to see if we can ruin it in salt water. I know we're going to ruin this one. I don't think VG10. It's a good steel. It's a very good knife steel. I don't think it's that corrosion resistant. So we're going to find out. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to shut this down, and then we're going to move on to, I've got a multi-tool review that I am about to do. I did one for the Gerber the other day, and I've been thinking about the Swiss tool. I found one for under 50 bucks that I think is going to be phenomenal. We'll find out.